Hello and welcome to Must Listen Music. I'm Andy Wilson. This is my review of all the best album releases each week. So if you're considering listening to a new album but don't want to find out it's rubbish, watch my video and I'll sift out that rubbish for you. And my first must listen album this week is from an artist called Carey, and the album is called 100 Acres. Carey, or Sean Carey, as he's known to his family, has finally released his third studio album, and it contains, in my opinion, some of the strongest, most grounded work he has done to date. And it's very much a leap forward from his previous solo work. Carey forms 1/5 of critically acclaimed band Bon Iver, and as rumour goes, apparently the original meeting between himself and founder of Bon Iver, Justin Vernon, was backstage, and he claimed that he can play and sing all of his songs. They play together, realises their voices complemented one another, and they've never looked back. In fact, Bon Iver just released the 10th anniversary version of their debut for Emma Forever Ago, and they have gone on, of course, to be one of the best and most renowned indie folk bands of a generation. It was a further 2 years after Bon Iver's debut release before Carey stepped out from behind the drum kit and went out alone, releasing his debut album in 2010, All We Grow. Although generally well received by critics, as were the following EPs, as was the next album, it is only on this album does Carey truly stand out from behind that enormous shadow of Bon Iver. 100 Acres exudes a confidence not displayed on his previous solo work. There is a sense of satisfaction in his life and comfort in the direction he is taking his music. He now has the confidence to allow his musical ideas to be uncomplicated, whilst laying bare the true intricacies of life. This allows listeners' minds to wander off to far-flung places. I quickly became lost in images of campfires, frozen lakes and a walk through a pine forest. God knows why it was a pine forest specifically, it just was. The beauty of this album is it allows each listener to have a different experience and evoke different imagery to the one I had. Therefore, everyone has a completely different experience when they listen to 100 Acres. 100 Acres is a collection of tiny, intricate songs played out in a grand setting. And what I mean by that is you can imagine him recording this album in a shack in the middle of nowhere, deep in the countryside, surrounded by rolling hills. But what Carey does so well is he will take you on a journey of discovery outside of the suburban life most of us live. So if you're looking to temporarily escape the rat race or wind down after a long weekend, then 100 Acres should be near the top of your must-listen list. This album is a collection of beautiful and clear-eyed songs which are full of confidence and verve. They shine brightly as standalone tracks or interwoven as part of an album. If you like, for example, Fleet Foxes' Askia, or even early Bon Iver, Carey, 100 Acres almost definitely will be the album for you. And my second must-listen album this week is the self-titled debut from the Los Angeles trio Low Moon. Love or hate this album, one thing you can't say is that it was rushed. Google returns articles on lead singer Matt Lowell from 2009. And as his biography suggests, the seeds were sowed for lead single Loveless back in 2011, but it wasn't until 2017 that that single actually got released. It did, however, quickly gain the attention from the likes of Pharrell Williams and the Temper Trap, and they followed it up with second single This Is It, but then it was another year almost until the debut album was released. And finally, it is here. Man, was it worth the wait. I would describe Low Moon as an atmospheric synth pop band, but there's certainly a level of 80s nostalgia running throughout this album. You can expect moments of arena-sized hooks followed by the purest of pure pop. The chorus to Real Love, for example, is a combination of both. I'm not saying it's a bad thing necessarily, it in fact makes the whole experience a bit more accessible to the wider audience. And at the end of the day, Low Moon, like us all, have bills to pay. For me though, it doesn't detract whatsoever from the quality of this album. This is a moody album, fully loaded with atmosphere, soaring vocals, heavy synthesizers and euphoric build-ups. There are nods to the likes of The XX, Massive Attack and War on Drugs. But for me, they've missed a trick with how they brought this album to market. There was a lot of noise around them in early 2017, but then deftly silenced until now. But for me, they've missed a track with how they brought this album to market. There was a lot of noise around them in 2017, but then it's been deathly silent up until now. It's meant they lost a lot of excitement, anticipation, which usually is the precursor to an album release. This means they go into this debut album cold, so to speak. This will go some way to explain why so few lines are written in major publications about them. It's such a shame, as this is truly a great album and worthy of a must listen. I implore you, in the next week, go and give Low Moon a go. Low Moon and their self-titled album wraps up must listen music this week. See you again next time.